Hi, friends. Welcome to Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Reuben Sowers, the dad.
And I am Judson Morrow, the daddy.
Hi, Judson.
Hey, Brian. What's going on, dude?
I feel like last week I saw you a million times, and now it feels like even though it's only been a few days, I haven't seen you in forever.
I mean, that is what life with me is like. It's either feast or famine, baby.
How was week 2 at the job?
So good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm in the process of just meeting everybody, like having a bunch of one-on-ones with the teams I'm going to be training so I understand how best to be of service. And it's been great.
Now, are you working in the office?
Yeah, I go in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I had Thursday and Friday at home.
So what is the grid like in your new work neighborhood?
Oh, well, my new work neighborhood is your work neighborhood.
I know that.
So you know what the grid is like.
Well, I think you and I experience the grids differently.
It's been busy, which has been really nice. The first couple days I went in, I got like nothing. And then this Wednesday I went in and I just like kept it on and I had like 10 messages.
And did any of them turn into anything?
I actually have, I've like initiated in the conversation, like I've started to say hi, but I have been really busy.
Right.
So nothing yet.
Okay.
But I did have a repeat hookup last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With a bud in a neighborhood. You know him.
Okay. Yes.
We hooked up and then we went to see a show at Union Hall.
Oh, fun. Who did you see?
Max Wittert.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
Max.
sorry, Max Wittert. He is a comedian and an illustrator, and he sort of like tells the story of his mom dying when he was 4 through drawings that he created as an adolescent. It's very good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Funny. Okay.
Yeah, like, ha ha ha, your mom died.
Queer?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Like very gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we should have him on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Okay. And how was the hookup?
Delightful. We just have really excellent chemistry.
Yeah.
It's a fun repeat.
Yeah. I was talking obviously on last week's episode with Brandon Kyle Goodman about the fact that I feel the need to have hookups so that I have something to report on on this podcast. And I unfortunately...
Celibacy is not very good for the brand.
No, I know. And unfortunately, I do not. I've had great sex with my husband again, but...
Cancel the episode.
This weekend, I am scheduled to attend our friend's sex party that I have not been to in... I really can't remember how long. I don't remember the last time I was there.
I think it should be really fun.
I'm very excited. You are not going to be there.
I'm going to be out of town seeing a friend upstate in Beacon, but I did send my regards. My husband is going to bring this hookup to that party.
Yeah, I was hoping that hookup would be there.
Yeah. He's there. He's ready. He's like, how do I get on the invite list? I'm like, you're talking to the right people.
Yeah.
We know some people.
Yeah. Good. I've been fantasizing about him being there. So, I mean, the last time I was at a sex party at all was with you, I think in June. I think it was Pride Month, and it wasn't our friends. It was a different set of friends. It was actually our friends at JXXL.
Oh, yeah.
Who were guests on the podcast. That was my one and only time attending a JXXL party, but I intend to get to more. Like I've said in the past, it's just hard for me to get to parties because I plan my life so far in advance, and theater takes up most Saturday nights because that's the easiest night for us to get childcare.
I mean, my November is almost completely spoken for.
Yeah.
I have to reserve time just for like me and my husband.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, folks. How's your December? We
will have more sex soon. And I hope you all are having sex. Actually, we have a hookup of the week we'll get to shortly. So it's a little funny to report on current events because our podcast, the earliest it ever airs, is about 10 days after we record.
Oh, America will still be on fire, though, so it's okay.
And this news, I actually just discovered this morning, but apparently is a week old. Did you hear that the Pentagon put out a statement about Boots?
No.
Our favorite show on Netflix.
No, good for them. What great exposure.
Oh, my God. Yeah, good for Boots. Yeah. Yes. Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson put out a statement. They gave it exclusively to Entertainment Weekly. The Pentagon will not compromise our standards to satisfy an ideological agenda, unlike Netflix, whose leadership consistently produces and feeds woke garbage to their audience and children.
I mean, I love woke garbage.
So when them posted it on Instagram, the first comment that I saw, which has close to 16,000 likes, the comment itself, was from somebody who says, as a Black gay Army veteran who began his service during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I have to say Boots is one of the most authentic portrayals of military life I've ever seen on screen. The attention to detail, emotional depth, and honesty in the storytelling hit hard, especially for those of us who lived through that era. The acting is phenomenal, and the balance between realism, humor, and heart is spot on. Boots got it right.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and all the comments are like, oh, well, after that review, I'm definitely watching. So in defiance of the Pentagon, all of you, if you haven't taken our recommendation from, I think, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, please go and watch Boots on Netflix and then watch it again just so that it...
yeah. We actually got invited to be a Nielsen family.
Oh my God.
It's really strange. They sent us a dollar bill in the mail as like an incentive. And it's like, if you like these, how about 5 more?
Seriously?
I'm dead serious.
Like an actual dollar bill that you could go and spend.
Totally. Like actual currency, dollar bill with the promise of $5 more. And it's interesting. So my husband is like, well, I want to be representative of what we watch. So he's just like going through and like running shows, even though he's not watching them.
Yeah.
So Boots has been on in our house just as like background.
Oh, good.
So Nielsen can clock it.
I love that.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny.
I love that. Yeah.
I'll let you know what we do with our $5 whole.
Is that really all they pay?
Yes.
Well, yes, because they're sending all these dollar bills. So already the budget.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I will once in a while. A couple weeks ago, I talked about doing this. I went in person to a software company and did like a tech review.
Yeah.
But they offered $150. That was like worth my time.
Right.
$5. Or what I often get, there are probably folks who can identify with this. If you're on LinkedIn, like you'll get hit up by people who are like, hey, like, can we chat with you for $20? It's like, dude, not to be a dick, but a half hour or an hour of my time is worth more than $20.
Well, more than $20.
I'm going to need you to up it to 100.
Right. I mean, if you can do it the way your husband is doing it, leaving things on in the background, then $5 is like finding $5 in your pocket. Great.
Well, it's funny, too, because then it's distracting because I'll see that it's on and I'm like, ooh, I love this part.
Right. All right. Well, since you and I don't really have hookups to go into great detail about, should we just get straight to our hookup of the week?
Yeah, let's talk about someone who actually did have sex recently.
Okay.
Hookup of the week.
Hi, Brian and Judson. So here's part 2. I live in a very rural area, so there aren't any major airports close by. I had another work trip that took me overseas. And so rather than try to leave early in the morning for one of these airports, I drove to the airport a day early. And just before I was leaving, I got a message from this crew member who asked me what my schedule was, which was kind of a routine thing. He'd check in every couple of weeks to see if somehow my flight schedule aligned with his flight schedule. And it never did for over a year. And then this day, it did. He was going to be on a layover in the city where I was going to fly out of. And so I get settled in my hotel. I send him a message and wondering how far away he is from the hotel that I'm staying in. He sends me the link, and it's the hotel right beside mine. So, was still at this point very new to male intimate interactions. I had just gotten on prep about a couple months before, and I hadn't had much experience, but I was definitely excited and interested. So I meet him at his hotel room, and the room was quite dark. And I imagine lots of crew members have to sort of sleep this way. Keep rooms dark so they can sleep when they need to and get up when they need to. There was also some white noise machine in the room. I felt like I was just walking into this other world. But my eyes adjusted to the dark and we embraced. And it was just kind of amazing to make this connection with this person that I had only seen in person once before, a year before, and just had these conversations with online for that whole year. And I loved the making out. I loved kissing him and being kissed by him. And then it got to the point where we were both naked and it started to get more exciting. And I liked the wrestling part. He's a fellow my age. And so the fact that the two of us can still wrestle and not throw out our back was good news. And then at one point, he kind of pulled on my hair. And I thought, I don't like this. I like the wrestling aspects, but the other aspects, I don't think I like. And I thought, can I say that? Like, will this end it right now? I thought, maybe it will, but I don't want to keep doing something that I don't like just for fear of offending him. So I just said, hey, that's not feeling good for me. Can we not do that? And he was really apologetic and said, oh, yeah, absolutely. We don't have to do that. And the rest of the evening went really well. And at the end, we're just lying in bed, covered in each other. And it was just kind of this amazing experience to just lie there and be vulnerable next to another man. And I just had never experienced that before. And it was just really kind of an amazing experience to have. Just to feel this connection and this vulnerability with someone who can relate, as both of us as middle-aged men, and me, having only come out in my 40s, and him, although, it was more than a decade before, still having come from conservative backgrounds where we just felt like we could never be vulnerable around men. And to share in that experience together was just very healing and exciting and just so many feelings at once. As someone who had been married to an asexual person for 20 years, to be attracted to a person who was also attracted to me was just so exciting. And I'm just really grateful that we got to share that experience together. And I'm glad that even though it took a year to happen, it happened. And I just wanted to be able to share that with others, maybe who are in a similar situation to me, where they haven't had an opportunity to really express themselves in sexual ways with men, but want to do that. That in a sense, it's never too late. Someone else wants the same experiences you want and wants to share those experiences with you.
Hookup of the week.
I love how generous of spirit this message is.
Yes.
Like, oh, I am new to this and I want to share it for the sake of bringing like comfort and confidence to people who also might be looking for the same thing.
I want to apologize for not introducing this better. I will be totally honest. I hadn't listened to it since it came in a few weeks ago, and I forgot how he began the piece. So I wanted to surprise you all, but if you are a dedicated listener of ours, you'll remember part one of this man's story about 7 weeks ago, I think, on the Chris Murphy episode, where he described taking a trip with his family and meeting this crew member on the flight and the flirtation that they had. And he left that hookup of the week off with a little bit of a cliffhanger. And so he wrote that his friends encouraged him to send part two. And so here he was. And yeah, so beautiful. There's so much I love about this. I love the speaking up for yourself and having
it's a good
moment
lesson for us all
where you realize that this doesn't feel good and what am I going to prioritize here? And it turned out perfectly. And I think for the most part, it tends to do that people don't want to be hurtful. People want to be giving you the experience that you want and are just trying something. And I think we always have to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I love that you did that. I love that you have found this for yourself. I love that you did not throw your backs out in the wrestling. I can relate to that for sure. It's just really beautiful. And I also love the variety in our hookups of the week where some feel just like super extreme on the kind of sexual. I don't know what's the right word.
Well, some of them are like the connection is hot, but it doesn't go much deeper. It's just like wham bam.
Yes.
Ba boom.
Yeah.
Those are fun too.
Yeah.
But this is like a very deep connection for them.
And that but there's it's not just about the connection between the two of you, but also just like your self-discovery and your arrival at this place in your life. And like Judson said, your generosity of spirit to share this already at this stage. It's just really beautiful. I mean, we've had some that are very sweet. This one I think is very beautiful. We've had some that are like, we almost come ourselves just listening to them.
Just raunchy.
I love every single one of them. It's been so amazing. I appreciate all of you for sharing your stories with all of our listeners. I think it's really, really important that we know that it is okay to share these stories and that, and I hope it feels as good for you all sending them in and recording them to tell them as it is for us to listen to them. I think it probably is. And that's kind of why we started the podcast, because we knew how helpful to us having conversations like this are. So, thank you so much for sharing. If there's a part 3, or even if there's just more hookups in your life, we want to hear them. Anything else you want to say about this particular one?
Well, what you just said kind of reminds me of, I mean, it's a weird juxtaposition, but it just reminds me of a conversation that I had at work. I was talking to a salesperson about where they felt really confident and where they felt like they would like to see improvement or like desired support. And then I said, thank you so much for being so transparent and sharing with me how you're feeling. Just so you know, I have a lot of these conversations and there's a lot of people that feel just like you do. And he said, there are?
Right.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. He said, how would I know? And I just realized that there's in a lot of different environments, we don't speak up about what's not going well for us,
right.
Which makes me so grateful that this person shared, because there's probably someone listening who's like, fuck, I feel exactly the same way. And it's so nice to hear that anybody else, even if they're separated by the airwaves or geography, is in the same boat.
Yeah.
So listeners, you are not alone. It's all out there for you. And thank you so much for part 2. I can't wait for part 3.
Yeah.
Their marriage.
I was going to say, I hope it involves an invitation to Judson and me to be there.
I'd go.
Yeah. Thank you again so much. If you do have a hookup of the week that you would like to share with us, please record it on your phone using your voice memo or voice recorder app. Email it to us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com, and you will very likely hear it on the podcast. At this point, probably a couple months later, but keep sending them in. We always want to have a bank, and it really makes us feel so good.
Maybe our newest show format will be a hookup of the week extravaganza.
Oh, all right. We're going to take a break because we have a great guest for you today, and he is waiting outside for us to let him in. So Mike Albo will be joining us, writer, performer, Mike Albo, and we'll tell you all about him, and you'll hear all about his new audiobook, Hologram Boyfriends, right after the break.
See you in a minute. Hey, listeners. Welcome back to Dads and Daddies. We're here with our guest, Mike Albo.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
We're so happy to have you.
Welcome to Dads and Daddies. I always start our guest segments by embarrassing our guests with the reading of their bio in front of them. So you'll have to just suffer through this. Mike Albo is an author, journalist, comedian, performer, Gemini, multi-hyphenate. We'll talk about the Gemini part. His latest book is Hologram Boyfriends, Sex, Love, and Overconnection, just out days ago through Macmillan Audio. His novels include Hornito, The Underminer, The Best Friend Who Casually Destroys Your Life, and the queer young adult romantasy Another Dimension of Us. He has been an openly queer performer/writer since 1993 and has performed a dozen solo shows across the USA, UK, and Canada, including Spermhood, Diary of a Donor, and The Junket, which ran off-Broadway at the Lynn Redgrave Theater. He's written for The New Yorker, New York Magazine, Town & Country, TED, and numerous other outlets, including a horoscope column, a love advice column, and his popular stint as the critical shopper columnist for the New York Times. He is also part of the long-running comedy trio Unitard and the legendary, in their own minds, dance collective, the Dazzle Dancers. Again, welcome to Dads and Daddies, Mike.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I love this show so much. You guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you. That really means so much. You talk in your book, which we'll get to, Hologram Boyfriends, about a moment in your life where you felt you'd achieved a certain level of celebrity. And you very much were a celebrity to me. So when you reached out to us, it was like it really touched me. Like, wow, Mike Albo wants to be on Dads and Daddies?
Oh, my God. I mean, it really was, especially with Hologram Boyfriends coming on, I'm like, who would click with this?
Yeah.
And I really thought your podcast is really the perfect pairing.
Yes.
You know?
Well, absolutely. Well, Judson and I have both listened to your book. And I think that's absolutely correct. There was so much in it that felt like you were talking about my life, even, specific details like Thursday nights at the Boiler Room.
Oh, my God, yes.
I have two very close friends, Kirk and Kevin, who back in the day, Survivor aired on Thursday nights. It's now on Wednesday nights. And they would come to my house. We would watch Survivor on Thursday nights, and then we would go play pinball at the Boiler Room. Like that was so you and I definitely crossed paths there.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes.
We definitely crossed paths at the Phoenix, where I feel like in my later 20s, I think I was there 5 out of 7 nights.
Beyond.
Yeah. And then you even mentioned, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I was such a huge Thompson Twins obsessive as a kid.
Yes.
But nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, now they've been forgotten. Well, I think that's self-selected, that they don't care. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned I think what you were talking about was the behind the music.
Yes.
Yes. And I remember that distinctly.
You remember it distinctly? That
being
one?
on the farm in New Zealand?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was mind-blowing
I even
to
brought
me.
out for you my my
Wow.
Thompson Twins Here's to Future Days album. I saw them on this tour.
Oh my gosh.
This is the album with Lay Your Hands on Me on it, which you say is your favorite song
my favorite song of theirs, yep.
Anyway, so I had to bring that out just to prove to you how kindred we are. The only place that I almost stopped listening to the book was when you said that you don't care about Kylie, but I'll forgive you that.
I actually clocked that too. I was like, Brian is going to bring that up.
Oh no. Oh no. Well, okay. I will say that my favorite Kylie song is Better the Devil You Know.
Okay, yes.
And it has a really big memory for me because I was living in London for 6 months as a student, like a study abroad thing. And that was the big time of that song.
Yeah.
And, again, going out at least 5 nights a week, I would hear that song all the time. So it really has a special place in my heart.
Yes,
so she has a special place in my heart.
Okay.
It's true. I'm just trying to make you guys like me.
We like you. We just listened to your book, which is so you can't help but fall in love with you listening to this book.
So nice.
I think it's amazing that we used to go out so much. I was at a comedy club / bar in Brooklyn last night, and I was like, the show ended at 8:45, and we were leaving, and I was like, who are all these people who are out on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock?
I know.
And it's like, they're 25.
Oh, totally. I mean, it is true. I love that young people are going out a lot. And last night, I did a fundraiser for Zoran, Unitard. We did a fundraiser for
amazing.
Zoran at $3 bill, which I've been meaning to go to for the last 50 years that it's been open or whatever.
Yeah.
And I finally went. I was so proud of myself because I got on the subway and took the G and walked there and was there until 9:30, and I was really proud of myself.
Yes, congratulations. How is the benefit?
It was great.
Oh,
it was incredible. Jeff Hiller hosted.
Oh, another former guest
friend of the pod.
Oh, he's such a darling person.
He really is.
Peppermint was there.
Amazing.
Kevin Aviance, who I go back to our DC days together, and I love Kevin Aviance so much. So many amazing guests were there. It was a really great energy. It was a wonderful event. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
What was who was in the audience? Do you feel like Because I always worry that, and rightly so, like younger people feel very abandoned by the system and have opted out of participation.
Right.
Were there young people in the audience?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
It was mostly young people. Laverne Cox was there.
Heard of her.
And she gave a very impassioned speech. So did Kitty Ball Change, this drag queen.
Oh, yeah.
Who's so talented. They both were really eloquent about, I'm not very good at, I'm not a pundit. I'm not really good at like talking on stage about my feelings. I mean, I am, but you know what I mean? Like,
isn't that what you've made a career of?
It's true, but I need to rehearse it a little bit or something. Yeah. I can't just go out there and be like, and here's what I think, you know?
Right.
And I'm really impressed when people can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a lot of young people there. It was wonderful.
That's inspiring and helpful.
Is that where you learned about Locktober?
Locktober. Someone told me about Locktober before that, and I'm considering.
I just learned about this yesterday.
I just learned about it 13 minutes ago.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. It sounds like dryuary, which also I don't like.
So tell our listeners what you learned.
Locktober is when I guess you kind of, it's like chastity. It's like chastity
you lock yourself
play
in chastity for the month.
For the month.
Yeah.
I guess to a certain person, or you're like kind of like, oh, I'm going to hold off. I guess you're holding off your orgasm?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes. You're not allowing yourself to come for the month and you are locked.
Locked to yourself, but not necessarily locked to another person who you're going to have the orgasm with when you're done.
No, I think there is a physical cage.
Oh.
I think you are genuinely locked in a cage that allows you to use the restroom as needed, but not to come. And from what I understand, I was telling Judson, we have a hookup of the week that was submitted to us. Had I known that Locktober was going to come up when Mike walked in the door, I would have used it today. And this person is in a relationship and then hooks up with somebody else who is participating in Locktober and wants to hook up with this person. So it's not. So it seems like this person is just is hooking up.
Right.
It's not about being locked to a specific person.
But it's about it's like an edging kind of thing. Like
I think so. Yes.
It's so interesting that we're in this time when the whole gooning trend is happening.
Yes.
There's this whole sort of edging, not doing the orgasm thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And that's becoming kind of eroticized. Which, hey, I'm up for anything, but it's just an interesting thing to notice.
Yeah. Oh, so we just had on a few weeks ago Brian Bantz, who is a baiter content creator, and we talked a lot about both edging and gooning. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're
sort of similar-ish. I
guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, one kind of leads to the next, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I have to practice my edging.
I don't have the restraint.
Well, that's my
I'll
issue.
admit that. Like, it's not a judgment of like who's doing it. It's just that I know that personally for me, like, I jacked off the other day and it took me 37 seconds to get off. Because I was like, I got to get this out. I was so horny all day. And it was also like a day, I didn't even engage online or anything. I was just horny all day. And when I got home, I had a friend over, actually my sponsee, and we had dinner, we did step work. And then the minute he walked out the door, I was like, I need to ejaculate.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I explored this in Hologram Boyfriends when I sort of dated this guy who got me into sexual kung fu.
Yes.
And I find it very difficult to, I still do. I've tried to send this erotic energy through my body.
Yeah.
I recently hooked up with this guy that I met 4 years ago, and it's someone that we finally met up again. And he, since that time, has become an energy worker.
Okay.
And he's like, I was like, I can come to your place or you can come to mine. I don't know. He's like, well, I'm really loud, so can we go to your place? I was like, okay, whatever. I have pretty, tight soundproof walls and stuff. And he was really erotically charged. His whole body was erotically charged because he's been practicing this sort of energy work so that he can run the eroticism through his body.
Okay.
Through the line. There's like a line.
Okay.
It goes up and down the center of your body. And who I call Fadi in the book.
Yes.
He knew how to do this too, and he was trying to explain it to me, and I tried to do it, but I can't do it. Like, the orgasm happens. It's really hard. And if I do try to do it, it feels like I'm, clenching my muscles because I have diarrhea or something. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But I'm appreciative of thinking about the orgasm as energy, you know? So I'd love to explore it, but I don't think I want to be that guy who feels so erotic from everything that it makes him scream.
Right.
That seems kind of scary.
I am stuck on, I'm so loud, so let's do it at your place. If he's practiced at being loud, shouldn't he have arranged his environment to...
Yeah, I think...
Let me bring my sound pollution to your place and your neighbors.
Yes, he was, at least very politely, was muffling himself with a pillow so that my neighbors weren't too freaked out. So, and I was like, do you not want to orgasm? Is that what this is about? And he's like, no, I do. But it was just a lot beforehand was just very like, touching any part of his body was just erogenous. It was like, I'm not sure I would want to live that way,
I'm very curious.
Maybe for a day.
Yeah, I'm very curious to have that sensation. But you're right, like it wouldn't be sustainable. It's like can you imagine if like poppers lasted for more than 30 seconds? Like,
oh God.
No, I couldn't live my life. Also, I'm a parent. Could you imagine?
Your kids.
Right. But I want to talk about Mike, and I want to talk about this book. So, and I'm very excited because in the book you say that you're a Gemini rising, which means you're cosmically built to chat. So I was like, perfect podcast guest.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited. And, or as you then say, are you a chat bottom?
Yeah. I toy between whether I'm a chat bottom or a listening top.
Yes.
I love to talk. I love to talk to people. I was thinking that this podcast is one of the closest to that time after you have sex with someone in a bed and you can finally talk about your life.
Yeah.
And it's sexually related. I think that's something that gay guys can do really easily, is move from sexuality into personal stuff.
Right.
We are good at that. Thank you.
And this is like the closest to that. This is like we're all in a bed and we just came and we're talking.
Ooh, I like that.
And
maybe we should change the format. So you're going to come over. We're all going to come together.
Hook up, and then we're going to start recording the show.
Yeah. But and so I'm a listener. I love listening to people. And sometimes I'm like, well, he's not really asking me any questions. But anyway, and then I'm like, but I'm also very talkative. You know, I always ask a lot of questions. So am I a chat bottom or am I a listening top? Maybe I'm both.
Maybe reverse.
Yeah.
So do you describe the book as an essay collection? You said that, I think in the acknowledgments you referred to it as an essay collection, or maybe just towards the end of the book?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think of it as an album, weirdly.
Okay.
It sort of seems like I don't know, like a Joni Mitchell album. It's like Hejira. Because like it really, there are moments and pieces that I wrote in it that are from a previous time, but for most of it was written between August of 2024 until December of 2024.
Oh wow, you're prolific.
Really,
okay.
Yeah, it really took this. I mean, it shot out of me really when I sort of came up with this idea of exploring desire.
Yeah.
Everything happened to me, but also just all these ideas sort of came out of me. So I really started writing it in August and finished it in December. So there's this emotional wavelength that I was on.
Well, it's an interesting experience. So I'm not typically an audiobook listener. I like to, read a physical book. And so it was an interesting experience to me because since I couldn't look at the pages and how it was organized, I wasn't sure. And then at the end, when you described it as an essay collection, I thought, oh, okay, that I see that. And also, do you consider this? So you've said that Hornito, I think you've said it's semi-autobiographical or it's novel, right? It's fiction. But so, do you consider this your first memoir?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably not my first because I wrote an essay, a long-form essay, I suppose, called Spermhood, which is about my adventures of donating sperm to my two lesbian friends. Okay. And that was very memoiristic. Okay. This is a full-length memoir. Yeah, I suppose it's a memoir. Yeah. It's sometimes some people in the publisher says it's lightly fictionalized, which is
isn't everything.
Yeah, and I think I had to change some names,
sure,
obviously.
Of course.
And it is mostly true, except for I sort of conflate a few things in the beginning just because I'm trying to get to a point. But in a way, every memoir, everything is fictionalized because you can't be like, I mean, Sam, not that Sam, the other Sam
well,
that
course.
I know,
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but I'd say it's a memoir. Yeah.
And the other thing that I found interesting, again, I think this was in the acknowledgments at the end, is that this originated as an audiobook. And this is solely an audiobook. Yeah. And you were approached to create an audiobook.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of a whole new world. It's probably not a surprise that people are listening more than reading now,
Right.
And the audio department of most publishers are doing really well.
Yeah.
Because of that. And everyone's trying to get into the audio space. And now that Spotify is in the game, it's becoming more and more of a space, I think, lucrative space for publishers. And so this, for Macmillan, I don't know if it's their first audio original, quote unquote, but it is an audio original. And in my contract, it says it might become a book at some point, maybe.
Right.
But I'm really happy about, I've been performing for so long.
Yeah.
And only so many people come see your shows.
Yeah.
And only so many people read your books. So this is sort of like a great new genre for me.
And some of the book is recorded with an audience.
Yes.
And some is not.
Yeah.
And there are, and again, I'm not, I don't listen all that much to audiobooks, but there's like, sound effects or kind of scenery, as it were, in the background in some places. It was really a lovely experience. I love the variety.
Thank you.
But I do want to get obviously into the content of it all. And what I loved about it, one of the many things I loved about it, I should say, Judson is always my reality check in terms of talking about the money of it all. And you really talk so much about how it is to live in New York City, on how impossible it is.
Yeah.
And you open yourself up and you're very vulnerable about that. And I love the line, "My student loan makes more money than I do."
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I assume this is content you've talked about, throughout your career, but how is that for you to be so open about that aspect of your life?
I think I have to be, just so that people understand that I'm not one of those people whose last name is Von Manhattan or something, it's just important for me to underline that, especially when I start talking about privilege and, which I know as a white person, I have privilege. But I think sometimes I'm mistaken to have more privilege than I do. So I just thought it was important to really be like, hey, okay, listen, before we start, I need you to understand where I come from in my income level, so that I just want to be as honest as possible about that, And, I think it was Fran Lebowitz who says, like, no one understands how they live in New York, and which is true. And I can't believe I'm still living here, And I think over the years, especially since I started meditating and chanting, I get more comfortable with the sad feeling of not having enough money. And one paramour I had who introduced me to chanting, Buddhist chanting, years ago, I remember he came over. I was so depressed about not having any money. I was in my old place, and he was like, "Well, how much money do you have?" And I was like, $35. And he was like, "Well, that's how much money you need." And I know that sounds so simple, but somehow that was really comforting to me. And I think he just lived in the present moment so much that I try so hard to not feel fear about money, which is so easy to feel,
No, it's really admirable and aspirational, because I think there are so many people who feel like, oh, well, this life is not achievable for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, you prove in your book that you've been here for a very long time, even as you're waiting for checks to clear the pipeline.
God, the pipeline.
Well, and I think what happens too, we've talked about this before, like I really related to how you discussed, as Brian said, like the finance of it all. I think, unfortunately, with social media, there is this sort of like prescribed notion of like that we do have this much money, or we should have this much money, and these are the things that we do with it. And there are probably thousands of men who are going into insane amounts of debt to keep up with the Gay Joneses. It's like that trip to Santorini was compliments of Capital One Bank, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I never want people to feel like they have to spend beyond their means to just like keep up appearances. Like my husband and I perform economic triage all the time. It's like, here's the pool, here are the things we want to do, here are the things that we can actually do, and like fuck what it looks like.
Yeah, that's really important. I took a finance course over the pandemic when everything was free. I mean, that's like the one nostalgia I have for the pandemic is there was like free yoga classes, free this, free that.
Right.
And this really wonderful woman, Miyata Idoga, I think that's how you say her name. And I really recommend her course, paying for it if you can. She did this sort of like emotional kind of a triage of your finances. And one thing that she did was think of your money as a relationship. What kind of relationship do you have with your money? And I realized that I had been treating my money like an untrustworthy boyfriend who comes over at 3 a.m., and is like, doesn't really like me, like that I could never trust. I could never trust the money, And I was like, I need to treat it better. And so I started like, making budgets and kind of being nicer to the money, taking it out a little bit, like kind of stroking it. So I started understanding how to treat money a little bit better. If that makes any sense.
I love the comparison to a relationship.
Yeah.
Because there's also like gratitude there. Like, thanks for being here. Little bit of money.
Yeah.
Cupcake money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So obviously we're here at Dads and Daddies, and you talk in the book that you were first called a daddy at 38.
Yes.
I believe you were making dinner.
Yes.
And then, of course, you fast forward to more recently, and this relationship that comes up towards the end of the book with Fadi, who calls you daddy, and pretty much is only on the lookout for daddies.
Yes, all he did was say daddy.
Yes. So what does it mean to you? What is daddy for you, and do you identify as daddy?
I think I do, because people identify me as a daddy.
Right.
I do have some feelings about it though, because I think sometimes I feel like it is kind of like a financial thing. That's like it's more of like a class thing than people are like. What do you want me to do? Like pay for you? I don't understand what's your financial fetish with daddiness, But at the same time, I talked about this in Spermhood a little bit. I think the word daddy has come into our lives because we older men are the first openly gay generation to have survived and to grow old. I mean openly gay, like really, like guys my age, Gen X guys, all these men died before us. I mean, and I have some close friends who are older, of course, but really for the most part they all died, sadly. And so we lost a whole generation, and we are this first generation to openly be gay, proudly be gay, and be out there. And so it makes sense that daddy has kind of become a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And I embrace that, I just don't, sometimes I'm like, what do you want? Do you want someone to take care of you, or what's that about? And I'm just not, I'm not turned on by, listen, I love to make people food. Don't get me wrong. I love to take care.
Clearly in the book.
I love, looking out after somebody, especially if I'm going out with them. But I'm not like, I'm going to pick up the check. That really gives me a hard on or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that perspective of, I think you nailed it. It's just you and younger boomers are the first openly out, proud gay men to have survived.
Yeah.
So naturally, like, it would take on this moniker. I didn't think of it that way. I mean, I think about that phenomenon all the time because I'm like, oh my God, like, where is my age group gonna go when we retire? Because we're like the first full generation to like make it, right? Full. Like there's a lot of Gen X and a lot of younger boomers who are there now. But like millennials, once we get to the 60s and 70s, it's going to be the largest group of gay men in the history of this country.
Yeah.
I really like how you frame it. So, like, removed from the like the financial aspect of it all, like, do you find other comforts in like being called daddy or being of service as a daddy?
Being of service as a daddy. I mean, I'm just I'm flattered. I mean, it's really it's not a negative connotation. There's nothing negative about it being called that. I have to tell you, one of your former guests, besides the former boyfriend who called me daddy, Mr. Boomer Banks will not remember this, but I was doing a profile of Frankie Sharp, the club promoter, and Boomer was dancing. This is a long time ago. This is like in the maybe mid 2000s or late 2000s. And he was like, "Hey, daddy." And I was like, I mean, one of the most beautiful men ever says that to you, you know? So I was like, and I was again 38 or so.
Yeah.
And it was a little destabilizing back then. I mean, I was like 38. That's pretty young, you know? I don't know how to talk about it, except that I don't mind it.
Right.
But I don't think of it as my identity, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a part of a more complete whole. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing about your book that I felt really resonated with me, and I think would with our listeners, is how you talk about shame throughout the book. Because for a decent amount of the book, you talk about this feeling that you couldn't name. You didn't know how to name it for a while. And then it was not until later in life that you realized what it was. And so can you talk about that a little bit, your journey to kind of recognizing shame?
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall, it's taken me years to understand how I feel things in my body. And that's been through a lot of work, both meditating and just doing inner practice work. And, you know, I've done so many like guided meditations where they're like, "How does that feel in your body?" I'm like, "I don't know how the fuck that feels in my body. What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, it's not easy.
Right.
But shame, in the book, I talk about a time I went to go interview Joseph Kramer, who started the Body Electric.
Yes.
One of the first sort of sexual therapy kind of practices that I had encountered. And he's such an amazing man. He's crazy, but there should be like a statue of him. And, you know, if I was president, there would be a statue of this man.
Yes.
Because he really helped gay men through a hard time. And I remember when I was interviewing him, he was like, "I really want to talk about gay men and shame." And I left there being like, "Shame? What the fuck is that?" I don't think I even saw it as a word or attached it to a feeling really until later. And then once I started feeling it where it was in my body, which feels like a very shallow aluminum feeling in my stomach or something, in my chest and stomach, you can start tracing the times that you felt it before, you know? And then you could, once you feel it in your body and know it's in your body, you can kind of claim it or name it. And then you get your mind around it a little bit better, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, baby. If you can name it, you can tame it.
Totally.
I love that.
Yeah.
And where are you in your shame journey now?
I get embarrassed all the time.
Right.
I mean, all I do is get embarrassed. But you know, I think the one thing I've been able to do more and more is to be like, "Hey, Mike, you're kind of beating yourself up here a little bit, you know, oh, look what you're doing to yourself."
Yeah.
Like, those moments are a little bit more connected. I can get to them faster than I used to.
That's
you know?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about your favorite place?
P-Town? Provincetown.
Do you know, I'm not sure if you heard on a former episode, but I only became a convert this year.
Really?
Yeah. I had been about a decade ago with my husband. Our first kid was not with us, and she was only not quite a year old. And we went, and it was 4th of July week. And I don't think 4th of July makes the best first impression.
No. Circuit week.
And so, and at the time, what I'm about to say is going to be controversial for you, but at the time we were
I dissed Kylie.
We were Fire Island gays, you know, and so it was very hard for us to compare the two, especially because we were out there on 4th of July. But this year we were convinced to come back for Family Week and bring one of our kids. Our other kid was at sleepaway camp, and I don't think I'll ever go back to Fire Island. I felt so hard in love with P-Town this year.
It's beautiful, and it's a great place for kids.
It's an amazing place for kids. You know, listen, I think there might be a little bit of an age thing there, and just in terms of there's more of a variety of gay person or queer person, I should say, in P-Town.
Yes.
In Fire Island, of course, you can find it, but you have to seek it out in different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It is, the sex is there, but it's not sex forward as much as, you know, that energy in Fire Island can be, even for me, who's obviously 100% sex positive, can be overwhelming after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, just the variety of things to do.
Yeah, and it's such a cultural mecca. I mean, Eugene O'Neill did his plays there.
Right.
Marlon Brando visited, you know. And then someone evil like Roy Cohn used to go there. It has a huge history.
There was a play actually off Broadway last year that is supposed to, rumors are, come to Broadway this year, directed by a friend of mine, Colin Hanlon, called Kowalski, which is about Marlon Brando's visit to P-Town when he meets Tennessee Williams to talk about doing Streetcar.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
I
really
hope
good.
it comes. That sounds great.
It was really good, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place. And it's one of those, when you have dreams about a place and it doesn't look like the place, but it's, you know what I mean?
Correct.
So I have dreams all the time where I'm like in, like a playground or something. And it's like, this is Provincetown. It just has sunk into my psyche, and I've done a lot of things a lot of personal work that I've done has happened there.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful place.
Yes. Not inexpensive.
Oh God.
Not inexpensive. That goes back to the triage. Like for my husband and I, like it is a priority to go because it's just a really meaningful place for us. But it is at the expense of other things, right? Like we put that in the budget and then we forego a lot of other things because it is getting almost ridiculous, and like it just breaks my heart because price is a barrier to entry.
Yeah,
it then becomes a class issue in terms of like a place where people can be.
Totally. In a way, it's a reflection of the larger problem of income inequality. It's happening there. Maybe it's just a lens, the way that New York City is a lens, because now there are all these uber wealthy people who are there who are so wealthy that they don't need to even rent out the place off season. So they're just these huge houses that remain empty. And, there is a local effort to deal with the housing crisis there. And there's a lot of building happening. A good friend of mine, Jimmy Lee, Mama Lee Curtis, has an affordable housing apartment that I'm very happy about. That someone like her who needs to be in Provincetown, who's like a cultural figure there, has a place there. But it's just so sad that, you can nostalgicize. Even me, like the first time I went, there was a 99, and back then you could get a room for like $45,
a night,
or $60 a night. Yeah.
Wow.
But, and now, please, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's lunch for one person.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Well, my advice always is to get a place with a kitchen when you go to P-Town. You just need to get a place with a kitchen.
Yes.
Because you'll spend another $1,000 if you don't.
Eating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved in the book you talked about taking Fadi to Fire Island, and you brought dinner and served it in your room in the Belvedere.
Yes.
Granted, Fire Island does not have that many options to go out and eat anyway.
It does not.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about, we spend a lot of time on this podcast talking about Judson and my open relationships. And there is, it feels in your book there's a sentiment about open relationships.
I call them Opes relations. Just to say, make it shorter, make it more easier to say.
That you're should we say there's a level of frustration with the abundance or the ubiquity of open relationship?
I think, and yes, and I don't, listen, I don't want to be like, fuck you about that. No, not at all.
We don't, I think we need to speak with people
about,
and we've talked about this also, like the challenge of being a single person in this world where openness has become almost the norm.
Yeah, true. And I've been single more than I've been with people before, and I listen, bravo to people who can stay together and make it work. I think it's amazing. I love, but as the Jane Goodall of people observing people in open relationships, I do see some interesting habits that happen, and I think people who can do it elegantly do it well. My favorite thing about people in open relationships are the rules that you guys have. There's always like rules, and it's like only sex on the weekends, only on sex in other cities. You can hold their hand, but you can't come in their face. You can do this, you can do that.
Oh, that's our number one rule.
Exactly. you guys have to have rules, and that makes sense because you have to create parameters, of course.
You can 69, but you can't get a meal together.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about how, like, I think there's lots of rules or guidelines, whatever you want to call them, at the beginning. But for the most part, outside of rules that protect our family, meaning that, like, no hosting, no doing it when it takes time away from the kids,
right,
that most of the other rules have fallen away.
Well, that's good. I mean, if I was to be in a relationship, I can't imagine it being monogamous.
Right.
At the same time, I'd really have a hard time having our lives always looking outward. But listen, I have not been in a relationship for 10 years. I can totally imagine that I would get to that point, you know?
Yeah, I also think that that's a bit of, I mean, in my opinion, that's a bit of a misperception in terms of, like, Brandon Kyle Goodman is our guest on last week's episode, and we talked about this, that it's almost like a mindset, but it doesn't mean that I'm constantly, like, thinking about it or partaking or looking outwards. It's just like to know that, quote unquote, cheating isn't even a thing that could come up to disrupt us.
That's such a good way to put it. Yeah, totally. And that shouldn't, you had an advice for someone. Oh, I think it was maybe a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
And it was someone who was in a three-way and then realized that the person was into their partner, then they left. And it's almost like you want to name jealousy, almost like shame. It would if oh my God, I'm feeling jealous right now.
Yeah.
You know, that must be kind of like part of the thing is, like, you, as a person in a relationship, be like, oh my God, I'm feeling jealous of what's happening with my partner.
Right.
I just think that's an important thing to do, to always name it.
Yes.
You know?
I agree with that for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of sexy. There's something sexy about being like, wait, I'm feeling jealous, like, right now.
Well, yeah, it's also a good indicator that you care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This sort of, like, ownership of it. But what was I going to say? So about the inward versus outward facing, I was just speaking to a friend about this who is single, who is dating. He is in fact frustrated by the fact that he does come up against a lot of, like, couples who are looking.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me. He's like, you and your husband, like, clearly like each other a lot and spend a lot of time together. Like, it's not like you spend all of your days, like, looking for a third. So that is something that, like, I aspire to. And I told him, I was like, listen, and I've mentioned this on the show before, like, at the very beginning, I didn't look outward, not because it wasn't an option, but because I was so sprung by the man who became my husband. Like, I loved spending time with him. I loved having sex with him. I was so inward because I was just so into him. And then it just became sort of like a gradual expansion in the way that Brian talks about. Like, it's nice to know that it's there. But I absolutely, especially at this stage in my life, my husband is a priority for me. And it's funny because there's actually, like, a couple people that we've met together that for some reason I have been ascribed the responsibility of, like, getting us all together. And he's like, oh, yeah, how's it going with Michael? How's it going with Greg? I'm like, dude, I'm here with you. I'm also really busy. Like, I'm not necessarily interested in, like, arranging a threesome right now.
Right.
Not because I'm not unwilling to share. I just have, like, other priorities. So long story short, I think at the very beginning, when the feelings are strong and the interest is inward, it kind of not erases, but it leaves that sort of outward lookingness as like as a future point, as like a point in the distance.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're out there dating and every guy you talk to is, like, fucking married, it's just like
it's a little frustrating. And you know, I think when I was younger, I think I got my heart hurt a little bit because I didn't know yet how to be sexual with someone. I mean, of course I did all the time, please. But I mean, like, there are times, I guess is what I'm saying, is where I might have gotten involved emotionally with someone who was in a relationship and didn't really know I was doing that. It's really important, I think, as a single person, you really kind of keep a check on yourself.
Yeah.
But one funny thing is that always, not always happens, but I think it's so hilarious when you're with a couple and you're having a three-way, and this happened in P-Town. I was with these two guys who were, like, so hot. I was like, you want to have sex with me? I'm so confused. But anyway, we went back to their place, and at some point, one turned to the other and held him in his head in his hands, and he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "What am I? What are you doing?" Anyway, so there's a lot of
I love you.
Yeah, exactly. Like they just had to do that in front of you, and you just sort of sit there in the corner, like twiddling your thumbs. Yeah, it's a. I don't think it's a clean thing, but it's really funny too, because I wonder if because of gay marriage, it's sort of more of a thing, the open relationship was, obviously gay men have been together forever, but there's something with the marriage too now that made that more of a solid relationship. And now there's these I don't know, passageways you have to go through that are more talked about.
Right.
I don't know what I'm saying that way, but
Trump is going to fix that for you.
Thank God.
His priority is to fix gay marriage.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. By eliminating it. That's a quick fix.
Right.
Speaking of,
everyone's going to be single.
Right. Exactly. Yay. Whole new world.
You'll have your pick.
Whole new world.
Would you like to ask Mike the question we asked?
I would love to. We always ask our guests, what is your daddy issue?
This is something that I have problems with, because as a gay man who grew up during the height of the AIDS crisis and became sexual during the AIDS crisis, I use condoms. I never stopped using condoms. I've always used condoms. I tried to do the PrEP thing, and I cannot blame PrEP for this, but weirdly, the year I tried PrEP, I had a back problem for the first time, and I had this huge weird back issue happening to me. I might be one of those 1% of people who have side effects from the drug. Yeah. I don't know, but it really bums me out that condom use is that people that are like, "Oh no, I can't get hard with the condom." That's my daddy issue.
Yeah, I get that.
For me, it's like, I've been doing it my entire life, and I'm negative, and I've stayed that way since I was 18, and I'm now 56 years old. So something's working, It's an issue that I have. Yes.
How do you address it with folks? I guess as it's a deal breaker. Like if they're not willing to wear a condom, then you're not necessarily going to have penetrative sex, right?
Correct. Okay. Correct. Yes. I will not wear a condom if I'm topping, if they want to do that. But if I'm going to have something up there, it has to be covered. That recent article that was in New York Magazine about, you must have talked about it, right?
About it. Yeah.
I was like, those kids must having sex with me be like having sex with someone from Colonial Williamsburg or something. Maybe they could make that a fetish. Like, ooh, I'm having old timey sex.
That's what you should. It just needs new positioning. It's just about how we're marketing sex with condoms.
Right.
Yeah, you just show up with a bayonet.
Exactly. This is really artisanal.
It's cosplay. Condoms are cosplay.
Condom cosplay. I should put that on my profile. Yeah. Condom cosplay.
Yeah, it's all about how you position it. I hear you, and we've talked before about with our friends. I mentioned them earlier from JXXL, who throw sex parties, and they are very welcoming of condom use and very anti-condom shaming. And I thought that was really beautiful. And we try to create here this really judgment-free environment, but there are certain areas where I think people think but that I can still judge. I'm open to all these other things, but that, it's funny. It's how I feel now about when I see people in masks out in public. For me, it's very triggering. It's I want to move past that part of my life.
Yeah.
And I try to tell myself, no, they're just being courteous because they probably have something right now. But yeah, there's certain things that, of course I should be fully accepting of however anybody wants to present themselves and protect themselves.
And protect you.
And protect me. No,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So you're hearing it here, guys. Dads and Daddies, please stop condom shaming. It does not.
It's so weird.
It does not change the experience all that much.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not. And it's so weird to have lived this long. I have such cultural whiplash about it, because when I was 18 and started going to clubs with my fake ID and stuff, condoms were everywhere. You know what I mean? It was all about condoms, and that's how we saved our lives, you know? And then to have things change so fast that it's not acceptable or something is so bizarre to me.
I think it might be helpful for folks to just like be a little more introspective about it. It's like, oh, why am I saying no to this? Am I shutting myself off from like what could be a really awesome sexual experience, like if I use a condom? Or what if we had a really hot side experience, right? Like Brian and I have come a long way from our original messaging about like non-penetrative sex that is still clearly very much sex. Like if you don't want to put on a condom, like jack each other off while you make out.
Yeah.
Hot.
Totally. And it is, you know, it is really interesting how reflective it is of your life history. Your sexual behavior is really kind of a window into your life history, I suppose, because I can look and see like the ways that as a kid or young person becoming sexual, what I like is kind of reflective of safe sex, the safe sex generation. Do you know what I mean? Which makes me a very oral person. And, you know, the other things that seem quote unquote safe are things that I think are really hot.
I'm a cusp. Like I'm a cusp generation, right? Where like I was coming of age sexually, where like I was deathly scared of HIV and AIDS. But I was also living somewhere fairly removed from it, right? Like I wasn't in the epicenter. I wasn't in like the New Yorks and the San Franciscos of the world. And it was also the 90s. But like we got the message one way or another that it was like really scary. So while it is nice to have the psychological freedom, like I too would like to be a little more introspective about when someone wants to use a condom.
Yeah.
I am allergic to latex, but that means that I can provide polyethylene or polyurethane. Like I have those in my house. Like why say no to that?
Yeah. I suppose you guys are both on PrEP and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
all the stuff.
All the stuff.
I took DoxyPep this morning.
Oh, nice. And
Wait, did you?
Yeah. I mean, I had a hookup last night. So I flipped yesterday. So I was like, oh, just to be sure.
Do you take DoxyPep after every hookup?
I have been recently, but I also haven't been hooking up that much. Like I had like in the last month, I've had sex with my husband and then one other guy twice.
Yeah.
And you have not experienced any side effects from all the medications, yes?
It's so hard for me to know because I'm also on like I'm also on Latuda, like I'm also taking Prozac, like who fucking knows? Like according to the side effects of any of these antidepressants, like I shouldn't even be able to get a boner. So so if I get one, I'm like, well, I don't care how else I feel.
Good. I'm glad you're not. And maybe I will explore it sometime. The last guy I dated, who I mentioned in the very end of Hologram Boyfriends, he screwed me without a condom and I burst into tears. That's how emotionally heavy it is for me.
Yeah.
So get ready if you try to do that with me.
Come prepared.
Yeah.
Be warned.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. Actually, before we do, I always like to ask, how can our listeners find Hologram Boyfriends? How can they find you?
Hologram Boyfriends is going to be everywhere you can get your podcast stuff.
By the time we're out, it's out.
It'll be on Spotify, Audible, Apple, whatever.
Yeah. Hologram Boyfriends by Mike Albo.
Yeah. And you can find me. I have a website, mikealbo.net. And you can contact me. I like hearing from people. Yeah.
And if you want to reach Eastern European pirates, they can go to mikealbo.com.
Exactly.
But mikealbo.net is the actual website.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, great. We're going to take a quick break. Mike is going to come back and help us answer our Go Ask Your Dad question.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. This week, it's an old-school rivalry as the Las Vegas Raiders collide with the Denver Broncos. It's going to be a showdown with the Raiders versus Broncos at Mile High Stadium. This game's going to show you what football is all about. Rivalries, breakout stars, and the kind of intensity that will remind you of why we all love the game. Can the Las Vegas Raiders find a way to stop the Denver Broncos offense, which is one of the most dynamic ones in the NFL? Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's the Raiders and the Broncos, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hi, everyone. You are listening to Dads and Daddies. Welcome back to the segment we like to call Go Ask Your Dad, where we address listener-submitted questions. Disclaimer, nobody at the table today is a mental health professional. We just like to address your questions with our life experience.
To send us a Go Ask Your Dad question, please email us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. Voice memos turn us on the most. Here is this week's question. I'm a 54-year-old man whose partner of 21 years suddenly died 3 years ago. I'm navigating being single at this age. It's interesting. It has its ups and downs. One perspective missing on your podcast is the single gay man assuming that everyone on the apps is in an open relationship. I don't disapprove at all. My relationship was open for a good many years. However, I have found lately, as my needs turn from just sex to more lasting intimacy, that sexy friends tied to someone else ultimately results in a situation that feels humiliating. Interested in your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I'm happy this man has moved through his grief, and I'm sorry for the loss of his husband. That sounds sad. I feel a kinship with him in terms of being out there and seeing open relationships. And all I could say to him, and this is just from years of feeling lonely, like before there were apps, back when I was a kid and I was wanting love so badly, and you didn't have as much chance at hooking up, in the suburbs, and he's experienced grief before, so he understands how to feel emotion. But I don't know. I think that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to feel things by yourself, and it's important to go off and feel your aloneness, and then reapproach your sexual side. And I think that once the stronger you feel alone, the more you're going to be able to move past these frustrations about other people's positions coming at you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I believe in being alone. I just do. And I mean that when you're in a couple too. I just think you find out the most about yourself when you go off and spend some time to yourself, and then you can come back and feel stronger.
I have the daily fear of losing my husband. That is how my anxiety manifests. I think about it all the time. My therapist has been really helpful in saying, like, okay, imagine it, make a plan, and then stick to that plan. My problem was that I would reinvent the plan all the time, which then would give my brain opportunity to re-envision this loss. So I want to join Mike in saying I appreciate your vulnerability in sharing with us about this loss. That is a lot. As far as, our behavior as folks who are in an open relationship that might come into contact with someone who is single or widowed, the last thing we want to do is embarrass or humiliate somebody. And what I wish for, which maybe not very helpful, but sort of has a translation or manifestation in activating a network, I wish that on these apps we could recommend people. I have a very large network of single friends, and when I meet someone who's in a position where it's hey, fucking you has been fun, but I'm ultimately looking for a partner, I wish I had more of an opportunity to then recommend other friends who could be like, hey, this person is actually looking for a similar thing. So that said, that function does not yet exist in our digital world, as far as I know. But what I can recommend, and not putting all of the burden on you because you've already been through a lot, like activate the network of those folks who are coupled because they know single people.
That's such a good point. I love that. I also, this has happened to you when you're on the apps and you like see, like you'll look at the little squares and there'll be someone who's just like, really want to suck dick. And then the next square is like, really want to get my dick sucked. And you're like, oh, I hope they find each other. They're right next to each other.
That's what I'm talking about. Like at that moment, it's like, oh, I want to start a group thread. So the blower and the blowee, that is so, I really hope they find each other.
Do you know those video games that are like, it's all about just merging things? Like you bring two things together. Like I wish you could just do that with the little
yes.
on the grid. It's funny I thought you were going to go in a little bit of a different direction when you were talking about not putting the onus on our listener, which is that we've talked a little bit about this before, but speaking to our listeners who are in open relationships and like the responsibility of that we need to take on in terms of engaging with folks who are single and making our availability, intentions, all of that very clear from the get-go so that we aren't getting somebody into a place where they do end up feeling humiliated, as this person says. You know, I think our 3 favorite words, open, honest, direct. Like I think in the moment, we all fall into these traps of just saying whatever it is we need to say to get off and to make this hookup happen, which for the most part always gets us into some kind of trouble because we end up compromising on something. But I think it is really important, as much as we may be playing a character or whatever it is to make it happen, that when we are crossing that barrier, when somebody's in an open relationship and interacting with somebody who has made it clear that they are single, that even if it does just seem like this is about the sex at this moment, that we need to be clear about where we are and what we're willing to give of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The number of men I've said, I'll love you forever if you can get to my house in the next 30 minutes.
Listen, I've said it before, like in the middle of a hookup, like as I'm hooking up with somebody, there are times where the emotional response of love comes up. Like I feel the play acting so strong, but it's not real. It is in that moment maybe, but so we need to take on that responsibility and be clear.
I guess, and I'm trying to articulate something with this man that I feel I just want him to feel love, feel his own love, that for him to love himself, and I'm just projecting on him. He could be a perfectly self-loving person, but the more he loves himself, the more he won't feel humiliated.
Yes.
And I do appreciate Brian's reminder to those of us in relationships that we have a duty to our brothers to be open, honest, and direct about like our intentions, our motives, our capacity and availability to prevent those feelings too. That is something we absolutely can and should be working on. You're right. Thank you for that reminder, because it does remove the onus from the single person. Yeah. It puts it back on us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for submitting the question.
Really great.
We all send our love and tight hugs and condolences, of course. If you have a question for us, please do email it to us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. We had a question a couple weeks ago from a couple who wanted to move out of Florida and find a more LGBTQ-friendly environment. And also, we're asking about making friends because they define themselves as shy. And Mike, you said you had some additional thoughts for them.
Yes, I was going to say you were talking about edge cities, like places outside of town. There are so many small towns that need you there, and you could be part of the change. I was like, you could be go and make a game night. Go be that person who's going to create a culture and a community, and go to Allentown. Go to New Hope. There's so many of these like small towns, like you were saying, like South Orange, that need a community. So just go and make something happen. And people will come. Well, you'll be the magnet.
If you build it, they will come.
Exactly.
And I love that too, because also like I feel like obviously I'm not a very shy person, but I have these shy moments, and I feel the least shy when I have the home field advantage. Like if you guys are shy, host. right? Because then you have the comfort of your own space to invite people in, as opposed to like that super awkward feeling of like showing up to someone else's home, showing up to someone else's business, showing up to like an event space. I love that idea. Be the change, bro. Like get online, find the men, have them over for a game night. Exactly. And I don't mean a game night the way that it's been coded recently. I mean like actual like play Magic the Gathering or whatever.
Mahjong it.
Yeah. Mike, this has been
thank you so much. It's been great.
Really, I love your guys' podcast. This is such a great honor to be here. Thank you so much.
No, really, this has been so fun. You'll come back. We'll do this more.
Oh, I would love that.
And now we're friends.
Yay, we are.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We love you so much. We really appreciate you all. Before you leave the platform on which you're listening to us, please make sure you're following the podcast. Please do leave us a rating and a review. They are enormously helpful to us. You can visit us on dadsanddaddies.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter and to buy yourself some Dads and Daddies merch and spread the love that way. But for now, we will say adieu, and we will see you in a week.
Adios. Nos vemos. Bye.